Hello, everybody. I want to talk about this crazy situation in Aurora, Colorado, where a Venezuelan gang is taking over an apartment complex. I want to play a news clip of that and then show what a city councilwoman in the city has to say about it and talk about it a little bit. Let's check it out.
All right, everyone. Welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. We'll take a look at this really disturbing video. It has been making the rounds, going viral. This is out in Aurora, Colorado, and it's one that is making headlines, of course, all over the country, where the mayor of Aurora says Venezuelan gangs are overrunning apartment buildings there as part of an organized criminal effort. Local police have called the incidents isolated, but
This is some third world stuff.
surveillance video from at least one of the complexes is very startling, as you can see from this video right here. Now, we want to go on for more on this story about what's happening in Aurora. We're joined by Fox News senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse. William.
Many say the problem began when the Biden-Harris team opened the border with migrant apprehensions from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, jumping from 17,000 in 2020 to 600,000 in 2022. So the administration created the CHNV program, which provided migrants from those four countries with humanitarian parole and invited them in. But auditors found widespread fraud in the program, migrants lying on their applications, sponsors using fraudulent identities, including dead people, and traffickers demanding payment from those they sponsored.
They're literally just funneling people into the United States under this program with no expectation they're ever going to leave.
And that's what sources say we are seeing now, a mix of innocent migrants along with graduates of the Venezuelan prison gang Tren de Agua, extorting tenants for payment.
There are several buildings actually under the same ownership, out-of-state ownership, that have fallen to these Venezuelan gangs. We did everything we could to quite frankly, keep them out of the city, because it's not our problem. This is a federal problem.
So DHS briefly suspended that CHNV program, but restarted it this week, saying they've worked out the kinks. Well, it invites about 30,000 illegal migrants a month to enter the U.S. from those four countries. Now, critics say there are two problems. One, we still have no way to vet these migrants because we can't get at their criminal histories because those countries will not cooperate. And we can't send them back because their countries won't take them back, which is why you see some of the behavior these gang members appearing to act without any regard to police. It's illegal for them to carry a firearm, and you see from the video they've got plenty of long guns and handguns as well, because if they're going to be arrested, they're simply going to be released, and they're not going to be deported because we can't keep them, right? Can't afford to keep them. And all those people you see, we have the biometric information on them, but police are not making any arrests.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation. This is exactly what happens when you open up the floodgates to allow anybody to come into the country. Like he said, there are some innocent people in that group, but then you also have bad actors come in. And this is why you must have a secure border. This is it right here, because we're slowly becoming a third world country, at a more rapid pace since Biden's been in. But we're starting to see the effects of illegal immigration, the negative effects of it. We're really starting to see that now, and especially in Democrat-run cities and states. All right, here's the city councilwoman talking about this situation. The alleged gang crime is this headline says. Yeah.
Aurora City Councilwoman, now one of several people who've been very vocal about the violence and the gang activity in parts of the city. Danielle Jurinsky has appeared on national news programs. We've talked to her here on Fox 31, talking all about these issues.
She joins us live here in the studio this morning. Councilwoman, good to have you here with us this morning. And we talked with Mayor Kaufman yesterday morning to hear his response to these videos of alleged gang members storming into apartments. You've seen the video. He told us these are isolated incidents in pockets of Aurora, just 3 apartment complexes specifically. Take a listen to what he said.
And this is a very isolated problem. You know, we have other isolated problems that we're trying to deal with. And I, you know, as certainly the mayor, I don't believe you surrender any part of this city to a criminal element.
All right, Councilwoman, so pockets of Aurora. Do you believe this to be true, or is it a bigger problem than what the mayor might be saying here?
Sure, it's certainly not the whole city.
Right.
So I want to be clear about that. I would say geographically it is sort of isolated to one area right now, but this is a large area. Aurora is a huge city. So when we talk about isolation, this is still very much a large portion of the city. And if this is not addressed, it will continue to spread.
I know you've been very vocal about this for a while.
That's exactly right. I mean, even though it's concentrated right now to a certain area, but if you don't take control of this, then it can go to another complex, another complex, another complex. Then next thing you know, a quarter of the city is taken over, and it just spreads.
While now, when did you first know that these problems were going on in the community?
I first realized about the actual gang takeovers in these apartment complexes about 5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think maybe people weren't willing to listen initially? Because it does feel like you've got a lot of frustrations in terms of why it took 4 or 5 weeks for people to start to listen, especially once people saw that video.
Right. I think it comes down to, public image. And then I think, politics is very much at play here. But once I, met some folks like the Romeros and some others that I have helped get out of there, these are real human beings on the other side of these doors. And for me, this is not about politics. We have got to get these people out, and we have got to address this gang problem.
One of the questions that we asked Mayor Kaufman yesterday, why does this seem to be...
Yeah, this is not an issue that's just important to the right. This impacts everybody. Doesn't matter where you stand on the political spectrum. But if you vote Democrat, then this is on you. I'm sorry.
An Aurora problem rather than a Denver problem or a Colorado problem. And he is tying this to Aurora is getting more aid for some of the nonprofits to maybe bring these people. He's trying to get some of those answers. But I want to ask you the same question. I mean, is this an Aurora problem or is this bigger?
This is a national problem. This is absolutely a national problem. And in other cities, if they are not aware or not willing to admit that this is going on in their cities, it is a humongous disservice to the folks living in their communities.
How do you fix it? I mean, at the end of the day, people in Aurora want this to be fixed, but how do we even do that?
Well, I think the first step was me being able to bring this much awareness to it and get this video footage out. So I think...
What gives you the right to bang on somebody's door knob and just forcefully enter somebody's residence? What makes people think they can do that? Why? I don't understand. Yeah, they're criminals. I get that, but it's like, I don't know. It's really disturbing to see that.
Everybody now, except for our governor, has to admit that this is a problem. And so now that is happening and attention is on this, I do think that we will see action here, and I do think that we will see movement on closing in on this gang.
Aurora's about to get a new police chief, going to be sworn in here in a couple of weeks. Do you think that is going to be a positive step forward in curbing some of the things we've seen going on in the community like this?
I think this will be a huge step. I am very optimistic about Todd Chamberlain joining the Aurora Police Department.
Well, and the mayor had said that he believes that some of these people may have been moved from Denver to Aurora, or that the feds are involved in kind of sending people to Aurora or funding, as you mentioned, these organizations in Aurora to kind of bring the people to Aurora. Is there blame to be placed here in terms of how this problem got to Aurora in the first place?
Sure, I think there's a lot of blame, but I think to solely put the blame on the nonprofits, a lot of these nonprofits, they do a lot of good work, and they genuinely want to help people. And they certainly, I'm sure, did not think that moving some of these folks into Aurora, they don't have the capability to vet people. Yeah. So I can't solely blame the nonprofits. There are a lot of failed policies at stake here, starting with our southern border. And that's kind of where it sits for me.
Is there going to be somebody held accountable for what's going on?
We'll find out in November.
Yeah. Okay.
We asked the mayor.
Yep. We'll find out in November. That is when we get to hold people accountable for this nonsense. But Governor Polis in Colorado, spokesman had something to say about this. Shelby Weeman says that the state is standing by to support the local police department with assistance from state troopers and Colorado Bureau of Investigation if needed. But Wayman, whoever I said, went on to claim that the warnings about migrant gangs are just a figment of Aurora Council member Danielle Jurinsky's imagination. She said, according to the police intelligence, this perpetrated invasion is a largely feature of Danielle Jurinsky's imagination. She would also claim that crime in Aurora dropped from between 2020 to 2023. Continues to say, really hopes that the city council members in charge stop trashing their own city when they are supposed to keep it safe. Yeah, does that make any sense to you when there is video footage of that? The people they're breaking down people's doors. There is footage of people's doors being broken into, the houses, apartments being broken into, and now and for some reason this is a figment of somebody's imagination. I'm sorry, this is lunacy at its best. Lunacy, I'm serious. This is nuts. But anyway, the governor walked back, released a new statement, and has seemingly walked back what was said before. This is from Andy No. After falsely claiming the apartment building takeovers by migrants in the Denver area was a hoax, the Colorado governor has released a new statement. Governor Jared Polis, Colorado is a zero-tolerance state for illegal activity. Taking over buildings has no place in Colorado, and I am confident that the city of Aurora shares this basic value and will enforce the law if it is being violated there. I urge them to do so quickly and in a thorough manner. Over the last month, I have been in regular contact with the city of Aurora and the Aurora Police Department and have offered any and all state assistance to support their efforts if requested. The state has been ready for weeks to back up any operation by the Aurora Police Department needed to make Aurora safer. I mean, yes, I think the state should get involved. The state should absolutely get involved and send all the resources available. Arrest people, send them to jail, charge them to the full extent of the law. That is how you stop this. Of course, close the border. Stop the border nonsense. But at the local level and state level, you can do certain things. We don't see this here in Texas. I'm not saying it's perfect, but we are seeing a shift from Texas going to blue states because Governor Abbott has been sending illegals to sanctuary states and cities. And also, because they're sanctuary states and cities, it's easier for people to adapt in those places. Places like Texas and Florida where we crack down on this nonsense, where Governor Abbott has Operation Lone Star going, building a wall, tons of razor wire, arresting people, making laws to go after criminal organizations and things like that. It's tougher for people to do these types of things. When you enforce the law and when you protect the people of your state, it's not going to look like Colorado. That is the effect of having a sanctuary state. And that's why I was very adamant about voting for Governor Abbott, because if you got Beto in here, we would start looking like Aurora. We would see things like that happening here. Yeah. But all right, guys, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.